Today we're talking about what to look for when you're shopping for your wedding dress from someone who's worked in the wedding industry for, we're calling it 10 years. And we're gonna do it while I take apart a wedding dress. So grab your notebook, because if you are a bride, these are some things that you're gonna wanna know before you start shopping. First thing you're gonna wanna know, how does wedding dress shopping work? So there's two different types of stores when you're shopping for a wedding dress. There's the off the rack, which is what this dress is. So you get it as is, which means if there's any rips, holes, dirt, any of that is what it is. You're getting it off the rack. Now the benefit of this one is that it does not require any timeline, because you are shopping and the one you're trying on that day is the one you're leaving with. So I recommend you still leave time for alterations, because alterations can take up to, I like to say 3 months, but that's if we're like taking our time and we're, having a couple weeks in between, and I'm aware that you have other things going on in your wedding and parties and a million other things you've got on your plate. Can alterations be done in a week? Sure. You can do alterations in a week. You're seeing me 3 times in a week, but besides that, it is possible. So that's number one. Now, when you're getting something off the rack, you will need to dry clean it before it gets to the alteration stage. So you buy the dress, you're happy with it, do an inspection, know what you're getting yourself into. If there's any rips, tears, or anything like that, make sure that the alteration specialist can fix it. Some of them are fixable, some of them are patchable, some of them are not. So keep that in mind. If you're not sure, take a photo and send either your local seamstress, your mom, your grandmother, whomever's good at sewing, send them a photo and see what they would say if you're not 100% sure. There's also about 1 million Facebook groups that you can ask, and someone in there will have the information you need. What's great about these dress shops is that they are generally more affordable. So at these shops, you're looking at anywhere between, I've seen it as low as like $100 down to up to $2,000. That being said, $2,000 for a wedding dress is still relatively affordable because of, well, all of this. So lace is part of one of the things that makes a wedding dress more expensive. It is an expensive fabric to produce, so you get what you get. Sorry about that. Now, where the traditional style wedding dress shopping comes in is when you go to a bridal boutique and you're trying on samples. So a sample is something that the designer has sent to the dress store. The dress store owns these samples and you try them on. They're usually a sample size. Sometimes you'll be able to find a size that's closer to the size that you are, but I would always call the store ahead of time and make sure they have something that you can try on. Unfortunately, if you are in a larger body, sometimes it can be a bit more challenging. Make sure that you're heading to a store that is plus size friendly. So not all of them are. There's absolutely nothing worse than trying on a dress by like holding it up to your body. And I've seen that happen quite a few times in the bridal industry. So keep that in mind. Not all dress shops are made the same. However, I'm sure there is one in your local city that has plus size options available to you. Now with these dress stores, the more traditional boutiques, you're gonna be shopping about 9 months to a year in advance, because it does take anywhere between 6 and 9 months for your dress to be made and to come in. Now what's great about this is that it's coming in your size. So they're gonna measure you and you are going to order the dress based on what is closest to your measurements. There are some designers who will also offer split sizing. So if you're smaller on top than you are on the bottom, you can get a dress that is smaller on top and bigger on the bottom. Now, if you are one of those sizes that's smaller on top and bigger on the bottom, please make sure that you are looking at a size guide that actually matters to you. So if you're in a fully fitted dress, I do want you to pay attention to all of those measurements: your bust, your waist, your hip. If you are in a ball gown style dress, I only want you to pay attention to your waist and your bust. The ball gown, you have so much space. I do not care what your hip is. Now, if you are tall, someone over 5'10", you're gonna wanna order extra length. So that's the other thing. If you are over 5'10", Off the rack means you may not be able to wear heels, or you may not actually find a dress that's long enough for you. So another thing to consider. One of the things with a traditional wedding style boutique is also that they are probably going to be a little bit more expensive, probably starting at $1,000, going all the way up to sky's the limit. And you're going to still have alterations after that. So because things are being made for you does not mean that they are being made for your measurements. They are still being made in the size that is closest to your measurements. So still budget time and a budget for alterations, because alteration is going to be after you receive your wedding dress. So when you get your wedding dress from the store, here's what you're going to do in a traditional style boutique. You're going to go in, you're going to try the wedding dress on. Do not ever go into a wedding dress shop and just pick it up. Make sure you're trying it on. Make sure it's the dress that you originally ordered. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take photos. You're gonna take photos of the dress that you have chosen, your sample dress. The one that you're gonna place the order for. When the dress comes in 9 months later, you're going to compare the photo to the dress that came in, and you're just going to make sure that everything's there. I promise you, I've seen designers work miracles, so you're going to make sure that you have both the information, the before and after, so that you know what you're getting into, and you have a reminder of what you wanted in the first place. This is also a great opportunity to try on different accessories. So when you go in to pick up your dress, try on your veil. Try on your bridal makeup, try on your bridal hair. Give yourself an idea of what you're gonna look like on the day of. I would even say try on the bridal shoes, kind of get the whole vibe. When you're trying on dresses, so now we're even going before you step into the bridal shop, you're gonna wanna have an idea of what kind of style you want. So given that most people don't walk around just wearing long dresses all the time, I want you to first start by seeing if there's an opportunity to do a dress discovery appointment. Some stores have been offering this option where you get to try on a different shape and a bunch of different styles, including lace, no lace, the different styles of lace. This might be a great opportunity for you to see what you really want to wear when it comes to your wedding dress. But what I want you to think about is the whole picture. This is one of the few times where, yes, how you feel matters, of course, but you're also trying to create an entire image. So what is the venue? What time of year is it gonna be? What is your flowers gonna be? Do you want a big bouquet of gorgeous flowers? Because if you do, then you may not want such a vibrant dress. There's a couple of different things, but I want you to try and consider the entire picture, and then I want you to consider what you personally like, and then I want you to consider how it actually feels. I do not ever want you walking down the aisle with a dress that feels in any way uncomfortable, whether it's too tight, too short, too itchy, too something. Now, wedding dresses are probably going to be the most uncomfortable thing you've ever worn, and you're just going to deal with it. And I hate to say it, but it's kind of true. Sequins, itchy. Tulle, itchy. It's just all itchy. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It looks fantastic. You're gonna love your photos. You'll get over the day. And that's honestly, I'm telling you this because I'm on YouTube and someone needs to tell you. Like, I don't want to lie to you and say that this net, this literal netting, is somehow going to be comfortable. If you have very sensitive skin, I would very highly suggest looking for a crepe dress, a satin dress, something that's smooth, especially right here under your arms. Anything with a lace or an illusion is probably going to be a wee bit uncomfortable, so I'm warning you now so that you know what to look for. Let's talk about cost. I mentioned before a little bit that you're looking at anywhere between, call it $500 on the very low end to anywhere upwards of $10,000. I think the most expensive dress I've ever altered was around $10,000, but that's just for the cost of the dress. So I want you to consider when you're budgeting for your wedding dress that it is not just gonna be your wedding dress. It's going to be everything that goes along with your wedding dress. And I'm not even talking about hair and makeup, I'm talking about your veil, if you're gonna wear gloves, if you're going to, oh oh, I don't even know. There's a million things you can do to kind of add for your wedding day accessories. Veil is obviously the most popular, gloves second most popular, but also if you're going to do things like add sleeves to your wedding dress, any sort of alterations, all of that is going to add up and it's going to be an additional cost. So things to consider is keeping about 15 to 20% of your budget allotted for those additional costs. So if your budget is $1,000, then look for a dress in the at least 800, if not lower range, so that you have a little bit of extra cash to play with when you're talking about some of these extras. There's a couple of places that I would suggest splurging and suggest saving. And here's what I would say about that. The cheaper the wedding dress, the more expensive it is going to be to alter. You're paying for it somewhere. So get the more expensive wedding dress, the one that you actually want, and save on alterations. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because if it's close enough to fit you, you're probably going to be paying less in alterations. If there's a lot of damage to the dress, you're paying more in alterations. If it's on sale but it's 3 sizes too big, you're paying a shit ton in alterations. So that's a couple of things that you maybe want to consider, is the entire cost of it. Splurge on wedding day jewelry, fine jewelry, all of that you'd wear again. Would you wear your wedding dress again? Probably not. So keep that in mind. There's a couple places that you can save money, you can spend money. It's the bridal industry. You're going to spend money wherever, in every single place. But wearing your mom's dress versus wearing a new dress, that's something that you need to consider. Now, for my tall girls, this is probably the only time you're going to find a dress that fits you kind of right off the rack. Everybody else, prepare for alterations, and there is going to be a cost to that. My alterations, the standard alterations, are around $500, but I've had alterations as low as $300, and I've had alterations over $1,000 as well. So the worse the dress fits, the more expensive it is for me to fix. And keep in mind that any sort of metropolitan city is probably going to have an alteration range of around between $300 and $1,000. I know it's a pretty big range, but also there's a million different styles of dresses, and without seeing the dress or the dress on you specifically is really hard to say. So budget for, I would say call it $1,000, and if you end up saving money, then great. Save money on shoes. Guys, you do not need the wedding day shoes. I'm telling you straight up, you do not need the wedding day shoes. You need a pair of Crocs, and you need a pair of fancy shoes for your flat lays. That's all you need. Sneakers, Crocs, something comfortable. You are never seeing your feet. There's no chance you're seeing your feet. So what I need you to do is save your money, buy a pair of really comfortable shoes, and just wear those so that you are not uncomfortable, and so that you're saving a little bit of extra cash when it comes to your wedding day look. So all in, if you have any questions, of course, drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer anything you may have. I have a full extensive blog post written about this, so if I was speaking too fast or you need some additional links, I have that over on my website. The link is in the comment section. And other than that, congratulations and good luck with your wedding.